Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, no matter where. See, there I go again. I forget the microphone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, no matter where you are in the world. You know it is JJ and JJ's PC Builds. Your first time here, make sure you subscribe. And if you've already subscribed, welcome to the family. Welcome to JJ's PC Builds and my veteran subscribers. As always, much love to you for all that you do. And also, too, if you're going to watch the video from beginning to end, put a thumbs up on the video. Would be much appreciated. Would help us get to the monetization part, especially if you subscribe and watch the videos from beginning to end. But anyway, that's not why we're here. We're here to talk about GamesCon 2023. It looks like AMD come out with what they need to come out with. The new 7800 XT and the new 7700 XT. Let's go ahead and just watch the video. I'm going to mute my mic, and what's going to happen is we'll watch it from beginning to end. It's a 5 to 6 minute video, so you can, if you want to skip through the video, you're more than happy to. But at the end, I'm going to give you my final thoughts. So let's go ahead and get the video started, and do enjoy it. It's at GameCon 2023 with AMD, so here we go.
To the stage, Senior Vice President and General Manager of Radeon at AMD, responsible for all Radeon graphics, like the new RX 7000 series GPUs, Scott Herkelman. Hi, Scott. So good that you're joining us. I hope you're doing well. And I gotta ask, just straight off the bat, anything cool you've seen at Gamescom so far?
Anything cool I've seen at Gamescom? How about the League of Legends team that was right before us? And I have to ask you something. Do you think North America can beat that League of Legends team?
Ooh. Could Eintracht Spandau win the LCS, guys? That's what I thought, Scott. But
no way.
I don't think you flew over 7,000 kilometers here just to chat about League of Legends with me, right? I've heard you have some exciting news for us.
Yeah, that's right, we do. You know, 2023 has been a massive year for new games, and developers continue to push the boundaries for PC experiences. And that's exactly why we built the RX 7000 series. That includes the 7900 series for gamers who play at 4K resolution, and also the 7600 series for the majority of gamers who play at 1080p resolution. However, more and more gamers are buying 1440p displays, and older GPUs struggle in these new games at this resolution. So I'm excited today to introduce two new GPUs, and let's get them running here. The first is the brand new Radeon RX 7800 XT 16 gigabyte. And we are also announcing what we call its little brother, the Radeon RX 7700 XT 12 gigabyte graphics card. Both come with DisplayPort 2.1 for brand new displays, AV1 for next-gen streaming, and of course, fast AI acceleration for the next generation of games.
Absoluter Wahnsinn. Absoluter Wahnsinn. Also, da habt ihr es. Offiziell angekündigt, die neuen AMD-Karten, die Radeon RX 7800 XT mit 16 GB GDDR6. Eins von beiden, dürft ihr euch aussuchen. Und natürlich auch die 7700 XT mit 12 GB. So, that's pretty awesome, Scott. And I was checking out our Benchfest earlier a little bit and got to play some games on the new cards, and I gotta say, compared to my 2060 at home, man, I'm due for an upgrade.
You're definitely due for an upgrade. Upgrading your GPU is actually one of the easiest things you can do to make your system feel fast again. For example, you can see on the screen here, versus RX 2070 Super, which is a 4-year-old GPU. The 7800 XT gets you over 60 frames per second, and is 50% faster in The Last of Us, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and is twice as fast in other games like Resident Evil 4, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. And with Radeon Performance Technologies, you can push frame rates even higher on the Radeon RX 7800 XT with FSR2. The Last of Us Part 1 game gets over 90 frames per second at 1440p with settings maxed out, and these cards push triple-digit frames per second and Horizon Zero Dawn close to 200 frames per second. And Lies of P, a new game launching this September, also gets close to 200 frames per second.
Wow. I mean, that sounds like gamers that love to min-max FPS to the absolute extreme are right at home with their Radeon.
Yeah, that's right. And let me just show you a broader view of games. And so if you look at native performance across even more of the most popular games in the industry right now, the Radeon RX 7800 XT trades blows with the competition, which this card is $599 from our competition, and it has more VRAM and the latest display technologies. And on the Radeon RX 7700 XT, across the same popular titles, it delivers over 60 frames per second with max settings on your 1440p display, often besting the 4060 Ti 16 gig. And you'll be able to buy the Radeon RX 7700 XT starting at $449 and the Radeon RX 7800 XT starting at $499.
Wow. Für uns in Europa sind das dann natürlich für die RX 7700 XT die 489 € und für die 7800 XT die 549.
For those of you in the audience today that have been able to experience these new GPUs firsthand at the back of the auditorium, are some of your results now live on screen on the 7800 XT across 6 games. But don't just take our word for it. Check out BenchFest. It's right behind you, all of you in the audience right now. You can go ahead and play the latest games on the RX 7800 XT and experience the smoothness for yourself.
Ja, absolut. Also drüben in unserer Benchfest-Halle, da könnt ihr alles Mögliche an neuen Spielen ausprobieren, aber auch für die etwas mehr Stat- und Technikorientierten. Ihr könnt euch mehrere Benchmarks mit diesen neuen Karten direkt selber angucken. So. Ein anderes Ding, was ich glaube ich noch ankündigen muss, ist, nennen wir ihn jetzt Santa Johnny oder Nikolaus Johnny, aber da war so ein großer Sack voll mit Grafik.
Alrighty, my final thoughts on this. Alright, let's go to the action screen. Let's pull up some data that we got from this, and let's go piece by piece and see what's going on. Okay, we got Scott Heckelman talking about the 78, 79, talking about the 7800 XT and the 7700 XT, which is right here. So, looking at it, this is what it's going to look like. So, you know, give you a close-up view of it. That's what it's basically going to look like. Now, they were going through some graphs. Now, they were saying that they're using the 2070 as a reference. So, I don't know why they were using the 2070 Super as a reference. You know, they referenced the RTX 4070 and the 4060 Ti. That would have been a better reference than using the 2070 as a ground reference. But they're saying that it's much more powerful, the 7800 XT and the 7700 XT. 7800 XT is, they're trying to portray that it's more powerful than the RTX 4070, and the 7700 XT they're trying to portray as being more powerful than the 4060 Ti. So moving on through the graphs, they also claim that the 4070 versus the 7800 XT, the 7800 XT 16 gigabytes. Now, they're saying 23% more performance than the 4070 12 gigabyte, but they're leaving out the most crucial factors that I see, that in some of these games that they're not including ray tracing. Well, except for the ones that they're including ray tracing is Resident Evil, Far Cry 6, Forza Horizon 5, and, you know, that's basically what they're referencing. But Now come to the Callisto protocol, which is going to give you a 0%, and the Dying Light 2 with ray tracing gives them a negative 9% compared to the 4070 12 gigabyte, and Tomb Raider, Shadow of the Tomb Raider with RT on Ultra, giving it a negative 11%. So that means it's 11% less. And Marvel Spider-Man, Miles and Morales, RT very high at a negative 12%. F1 23, the ray tracing at medium gives it a negative 14%. And Doom Eternal with the ray tracing on gives it a negative 18%. Now, the thing about that is basically they're picking and choosing the games to make it look better than it actually really is. In my opinion, that's kind of what I'm gathering. You know, what they're this is their numbers, not mine. So just to let you know that. And if I decide to get this card, the 7800 XT, then, you know, we'll test it out against the 4070 and see what it's about. Now, coming to the 4060 Ti 16 gigabytes versus the RX 7700 XT 12 gigabytes, they're trying to portray that the 7700 XT is 31% faster, right here, 31% faster than the 4060 Ti 16 gigabytes. Now, coming down to F123 and ray tracing, it's a negative 6%, and Doom Eternal is a negative 9%. But it looks like Spider-Man is right there, they're equal, and Shadow of the Tomb Raider, it looks like they're equal. But, you know, with the Dying Light, they're only getting like 1%, you know, better improvement on their score, and Forenza Horizon 5, they're only getting 2%. You know, Counter-Strike, Global Offensive, they're getting a 9% boost over the 4060 Ti. This is what they're claiming. So, you know, with them having those kind of claims on that, you know, it's kind of intuitive to me to think that, you know, they're pushing these cards out to beat these two particular GPUs by NVIDIA. So that's what they're trying to compare these to, but they're trying to say you get more performance with theirs over, like the RX 7800 XT 16 gigabyte. They're claiming, you know, overall they're getting 20 to 23% more performance than, you know, than the RTX 4070. But on the other hand, on the 7700 XT, again, they're claiming that they're getting 31% overall, I'd say 28 to 31% overall better performance than the 4060 Ti 16 gigabytes. Now, that right there, I kind of could believe that, you know, when it comes to the 7700 XT. But the 7800 XT, I have my reservations with that. That kind of has me in like a little bit of reservation area to, you know, thinking that it might or might not. So, you know. Now, as far as the pricing, let's go ahead and go back to the action screen. And I'll move my big head out of the way. There, I'll put myself right there for y'all. Okay, so what they're claiming is that the 7700 XT is going to be starting at $449 US. Okay, they did have the European dollars and all that in there. So I just took and kind of blew it up and moved it around a little bit and put, since I'm in the US, might as well just make it, you know, for the US. But they do have on the video the European prices as well. If you're looking for, to get a new GPU, now the 7800 XT is going to be at $499 US dollars. So if you're looking to get something like that compared to the RTX 4070, that's kind of a mixed bag for me. So I wouldn't mind putting it head to head with the RTX 4070, which I have. So that would be something I would probably want to investigate sooner or later. So, that's just how I'm going to do it. So, but on the other hand, going back to the action screen and moving my big head out of the way. There we go. We'll move my big head out of the way. So what they're claiming is that they had different gamers playing on these GPUs, and this was their 1440p score. Like Call of Duty Modern Warfare, they got 138 FPS. Watchdog Legions, they got 119 FPS. Cyberpunk 2077, they got 95 FPS. Callisto Protocol, they got 64 FPS. Far Cry 6, they got 122 FPS. And Forza Horizon 5, they got 132 FPS. Now, if you were to take and play the 4070 and compare the 4070 to those scores, you would probably see a whole different ball of wax, compared to those scores. But from what I'm seeing right here, they did this for the 7800 XT, but they didn't do the scores for the 7700 XT. That was really disappointing right there. I mean, and like I said, make sure you got your drink and snacks. It's disappointing because they didn't show a lot about the 7700 XT, which some of these manufacturers tend to forget that if you're going to do one GPU, if you're going to put out two GPUs, show both of what both can do, not just one. That would be another thing. I understand they did stats on it and everything else, but seeing other gamers play it is a different story. Like I told you, it's like if I'm testing and I just give you the stats, who's to say my stats are true or false? This is an example. So how would you know that these stats are true? Other than seeing the actual people do the actual thing that right then and there. Okay. It's when I do my testing, I can take you guys from beginning to end. And if you watch or you don't watch, that's up to you. But at the end of every one of my tests, I compare it to my last test to see if it was better or it was worse. So you can tell if the GPU is getting better in performance, then you know it's going to continue to go up to that hill. But there's going to come a certain point, it's going to start dropping off that hill and it's going to start going down. So just like when I tested with the 4070 the last time, I showed you all the first test for the first month, the first day test, and then I showed you the first month test, and it climbed up in points as well. So it did show improvement. That means the drivers were showing improvement. If you're going to test something from the first day and then go 30 days and then go 6 months and then go another 6 months, and that way, you see for that first year what that GPU is going to do. That gives you a better idea of what the next best thing's going to be coming out from that GPU manufacturer. So hopefully the next best thing that comes out of NVIDIA will be much better than before, and the prices will be a lot lower. Let's hope that too. But from what I'm seeing right here is AMD's trying to be competitive with their pricing, but the thing is you can be competitive with your pricing, but that doesn't mean you're lowering your pricing either. So, and that's what it looks like to me too. I mean, you can show me all the stats in the world, but the thing is, I don't see, the action part of it. And that's what everybody looks for, is the action part of it, to show, to show me that it's worth what it says, especially when it comes to being at $500, $500 US dollars right here. And for me to buy that 7800 XT, they're not showing you that part that you need to see. And that's the testing of it. They're not showing you that part. They're just telling you what it is. So I'm on the other side of the screen. How do I know this is true? Okay. How do I know these tests are true? How can I take these tests to that another level of testing it myself? Okay. I know you're going to end up having to buy the GPU in order to test it, in order to come up with your scenario of scores, especially with the system that you use. Okay. They're not telling us, when, and let me X out of this. They're not telling us, I'm going to go back to the 4070. They're not telling us right here, okay? They're not telling us right here what motherboard they're using, what processor they're using for that motherboard, what kind of RAM, what's the frequency of the RAM at megahertz, what kind of RAM, and everything else. They're just giving you this and saying this is it, okay? Now, if I were to compare, my numbers to theirs, I have no idea how. Now, I want you to keep that in mind, because they're not presenting you with the, number one, the motherboard that they're using, two, the processor that they're using, and, they're not, three, they're not showing you from beginning to end the testing part of it all. They're not showing you that one valuable part that you need to see in order for it to be worthy. I think in myself, and I'm not trying to base myself off of graphs. I'm trying to base myself off of reality. Okay. The reality is this. And like when I go and test any products, I test them right in front of you all, so you all see everything that I do. So there's nothing hidden. There's nothing that's going to, there's nothing about the test that can be misconstrued, especially when people try to, how can you say this? They try to critique your work. So you can't critique somebody's work if they're doing it in front of you. And that's the whole thing. This is what people want to see. They want to see it from the beginning of testing to the end of testing, and what those numbers actually, the real-time numbers are. They don't want to see average. They don't want to see the 1%. They want to see what it's going to do in real time. That's what's going to be that's going to be a lot better for the consumer to make their choice if they want to go that way. So any video that I test any objects with, I tell you all what it is, what I'm using to test it with, and I take you along through the whole testing and then give you my conclusions at the end, and boom, there it is. You got from beginning to end the whole testing results. That's in real time. That's a big difference than to have it say on an average. So that's just my thought, and that's the way I'm going to be doing my testing. So no matter, everybody can throw their stats out there and do whatever. I'm going to show you what the real stats from beginning to end with the motherboard that I use and with the processor and with the RAM that I use. Everything is in front of you. So if I go to upgrade my motherboard, I tell you I upgraded it, so that means all my testing is done over again with the new motherboard, new processor, new RAM, and all. So since I'm using the B550 motherboard and I'm using the Ryzen 7 5700X, and I kind of got that in there for my system to test GPUs. Okay, I know it's not the best in the world, but back in the day, back about a year and a half ago, it used to be the best thing. That, or you wanted to get the 5800X or the 5900X or so on and so forth. Okay, that doesn't change the fact the more cores you have doesn't really change on your processor, doesn't change the fact of your processor handling your graphics card. Okay, so if you got on a basic 8-core 16 thread, right, that's perfect. On an average, your GPU can be handled, many of these new GPUs can be handled by 8-core and 16 thread. They could really be handled by 6-core 12 thread. So, because you got 12 threads. That's basically, the nutshell. But anyway, that's my conclusion to this all. Y'all seen it. Y'all seen what's going on here. So, that's the deal. And if this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe. And if you've already subscribed, welcome to the family. Welcome to JJ's PC Builds. And also to my veteran subscribers. Much love to you for all you do and watching the videos from beginning to end. That helps support the channel. And if you're new here, if you watch the videos from beginning to end, that helps support the channel. Also, too, if you want us to get our videos up and out there, make sure you put a positive like on the video. It would help. It would help us grow. So, but don't forget, tomorrow night, it's going to be Graphics Card Nightmares right here on JJ's PC Builds. So stay tuned for that. And all I can say is until the next time and the next video, this is JJ on JJ's PC Builds. We will see you on the next one.